Hello everyone, welcome back to Green Cottage Design. This week, we're gonna learn how to make grape jelly because my neighbor gave me 5 pounds of Concord grapes and I have never in my life had this many grapes at one time. There are 2 people who live in my house, so there's no way we would get through eating them all in a reasonable amount of time before they went bad. As you can see, it's a lot of freaking grapes. I thought about clipping this footage, but honestly, I wanted you guys to see just if you're going to do this process, it takes a while. This footage is sped up 40 times. It took me probably close to 2 hours to clean all of these grapes. There's a reason canning and preserving is usually a group activity. However, in these times of self-isolation, one must make do. The first step of this process is going to be making juice, and since I'm not attempting to make grape jam or preserves, I'm only attempting to make jelly at this time because I am a beginner and I know my limits. I'm not bothering to go through and de-seed the grapes. The seeds will come out with the flesh and the skins when you go to separate everything after you've boiled them down, and we'll get to that later. Now, since this is the first time I'm doing this process, I wanted to make sure and write down some notes. I ended up using kind of a combination of 2 different methods. One that my mom taught me way back in the day using pectin, and since I don't have pectin, I wanted to find an alternative recipe. I will link the source that I found the instructions from down below. So, look in the camera, look in the lens, not at the screen. Anyway, so I have somewhat preemptively potted up the jars, but that's okay. It's jars and water, they can sit there. Next step is making the juice for the grape jelly. That has to sit for at least 2 hours, up to overnight. It's currently 5 p.m., so it's gonna be overnight. Here you can see I'm starting the juice making process. The ratio is about 4 cups of grapes to about 3 or 4 cups of water, basically enough to cover. You're making a pretty concentrated juice, not necessarily one for drinking, although I did end up drinking some and it was really delicious. Generally, having a juice bag is preferable, but all I had was cheesecloth, so I made do. This is just to catch the solids once the grapes are done boiling. And basically all you do is just bring it to boil and smash it and stir it around every once in a while. And then you hold it at a rolling boil for about 20 to 25 minutes to extract enough juice to make jelly with. Also, side note, I was going to include the sealing process, but I did not do it correctly. I achieved a seal on the jar, so that was good, but I messed something up in the process, so I did not include that because I don't want to teach people how to do stuff wrong. Okay, I just got a humble brag real quick. That lined up so perfectly and it was totally by accident. Anyway, here we can see that the solids and liquid and all of that are in the bowl. Currently, the juice is draining down into that steel bowl. I ended up going back to the smaller one because this sieve strainer rested higher rather than touching the bottom, whereas in the other one, the mouth was so wide it touched the bottom. So here we have the first batch. Do not touch a steel bowl with recently boiling liquid with your bare hands, like I did. Use an oven mitt. I didn't get blisters, but that was not pleasant. record the part between that last clip and now because I needed both hands to do it, but I let the juice drain for a little while longer on its own, and then I squeezed out the cheesecloth to get as much of that natural pectin and remaining juice as I could. Since I don't have pectin to add, I'm relying on the pectin that occurs naturally in the fruit along with the sugar to, when it cooks down, help it thicken. So I want as much of that as I can get. And the ratio here is basically pretty simple. It is 3 cups of juice to 2 cups of sugar. I used 1.5 cups of sugar because the grapes were pretty ripe and pretty sweet. Although my jelly, as you'll see, ended up coming out a little bit thin. That may have been down to cooking time, or it may have been down to the amount of sugar. So I'll have to experiment and try and figure that out. So, editing Terry here. Completely forgot to record footage of the finished product. So, let's try some jelly. Oh, sneak peek. The entire kitchen used to be that color when we moved in. And the cabinets were orange. We'll show you some pictures in the house tour that I film eventually. The sugar is good. I think it just needed about 5 minutes longer cooking and it would have been perfect. So there you have it, folks. Easy Concord grape jelly for the oh-so-common situation in which you find yourself with 5 pounds of neighborly Concord grapes. I hope you enjoyed. If you made it to the end, I would love if you would consider subscribing and let me know down below any video suggestions if you have ideas or types of content you've been wanting to see and haven't. I would be happy to oblige. Thank you so much.